Hello everybody, hope you're doing well. This is Maro, welcome to my channel. So today I have an Aoba replay for you. It's a Japanese Tech 3 Tier 6 cruiser. I played quite a few cruisers, US cruisers, so I um, got to Tier 10 US heavy cruisers, US light cruisers, French cruisers, um, German cruisers. Um, I've been making my Russian cruisers, light and heavy. So I guess on the Italian cruisers I made it up to tier 9, but I never really spent a lot of time playing Japanese cruisers. So I decided to start slowly grinding that line as well. And I've had Aoba for a while, but haven't really played it, and didn't really know what to expect. From what I've seen in the past from other YouTubers is, and I think this may have been a video by iChase, was about really kind of using your guns sparingly as you are about to be hidden or you're about to disappear from sight. Look for the opportunities to send your torps and stay stealthy and stay in the game. Now, a lot of other cruisers that I've been playing, that's not necessarily the way that I've played them. So, for example, the French cruisers, it would really be finding a position where I can kite, try to engage the battleships, make sure I'm not overwhelmed in terms of number of opponents I have, and look to stack up my fire damage that way. I think the US cruisers may be a little different, given that they're not really good kiters. It would be more looking for a rock to hide behind and trying to kind of stack up damage that way. Here with the Aoba, I try to kind of stay fluid, look for opportunities to send my torps, look for times where I can fire those guns and do damage. Aoba comes with 6 guns, 203 millimeters. It's a pretty good HE damage. It's also pretty precise. The range is just under 15k. And it's a pretty good fire starter. Um, I also here coming to the cap, really the plan was use that big island to block my approach, get into position to go away and disappear if I need to, especially if I want to disengage, and launch my torps. Now I have 2 torp launchers on left and right, 4 torps each. Having a destroyer in front made me be a little more cautious here in launching the torps, but between the destroyer and me, we do get their destroyer here that was sitting in the smoke, so never a good idea. And these torps, hit hard, so it's something. It's a powerful weapon. The range of the torps is 10k, and your concealment is 10.5. So you always have that 500 meter gap between um, when you're spotted and when you can launch torps. Now, if the enemy is headed your way or if the enemy is closing under an angle and you're able to launch your torps before the enemy gets to 10.5k and is able to see you, or if you are behind an island, then they work really well. Um, there is, you can really go and engage in stealth torping as you would with a destroyer, but the opportunities do come to use the torps. I played maybe a few games, and in those few games, I've already hit a few ships with the torps, so that's a good sign. I mean, most of my damage still is really the combination of fire and guns. And as you can see here, I'm really again using that big landmass on the right to hide myself from the battleship, and I'm firing at the cruiser, starting a fire and turning around, and it's wash and rinse. You go around, go undetected, try to get a little closer, fire as you're about to disappear, or when the enemy cannot easily engage you, or the guns are not pointed at you. Now, these guns, they don't really turn easy, and it takes a long time. And the ship is pretty nimble, and it turns quite well. But in many instances, what you see is the ship is turning faster than the gun turrets. So once you start moving a lot, the guns are struggling to keep up, which a little unusual, and then you have to slow down the rate of your turn in order to make sure that your guns can catch up. But it's just something that you have to live with. So here we have Sinop, we have Pensacola, and I think there is also a couple ships to the left of them. There is New York battleship, there is Nagato just on the other side, and we are all kind of locked into the sea cap. The destroyer's been perhaps a little more passive than I would have liked. He smokes us, but I felt that could have done more to maybe spot for us as well, and we could use that smoke to fire on the enemy, and didn't get as many opportunities because the vision wouldn't necessarily be there, and I assume the destroyer just wanted to see if he can cause as much damage as possible. But you know, there are these moments where the vision is not there, and it's also very hard for me to send the torps. I mean, here I took a chance, so I sent the torps between the destroyer and the cruiser. Luckily, or maybe not luckily, our destroyer was eliminated, so that created a clearer path. But you know, being in the back, trying to send your torps, it does carry a degree of risk to it that you may hit the friendly ship. So far, I've been lucky, but there were also instances where I decided not to send the torps because it just seemed like it wasn't safe enough, and I couldn't risk it as well. Obviously, this is not really the best angle to send the torps because you know it's at the edge of the range. Sinop is reversing. By the time my torps get there, you know, there are huge gaps in between, so it shouldn't be that difficult for him to thread through. Nevertheless, to me, it's almost as a kind of a area denial weapon in this case, trying to keep enemy at distance and have them look for alternate routes to go north. We have the cap, we are accruing the points. There is no reason to risk it too much. Now, in terms of armor, the ship, the front and the stern, the bow and stern are 16 millimeters, which is typical for the light cruisers of this tier. I think Pensacola has 25, and Graf Spee, I think, has a higher number. But other than that, 16 is what you see. What that means is that all the battleships can really overmatch your armor and inflict significant amount of damage on you. And given the light armor, given the fact that guns, you know, I think reload maybe every 11 or so seconds. There are 6 of them if you can get them lined up. Again, not conducive to kiting. No, the rate of fire is not necessarily there. The armor is not necessarily there. Now the ship is maneuverable, and you could employ it more on occasion, but it just seems like a very risky proposition. Here, I'm engaging the Pensacola. I mean, it is 203 millimeter, but I'm trying to maintain a degree of, you know, being angled. The battleship is also engaging it. As long as the battleships are not targeting me, or I'm not in the position where they can get to me, I feel safe enough to engage. Obviously, if Pensacola was to hit me with the AP shells, it would hurt, right? Because you don't really have a heal and a life. at around 31,000 is uh, adequate. It's middle of the pack. Um, you will have maybe Grafspé that goes closer to 40, but then there is also a series of lighter cruisers that are mid 20,000. So 31, maybe, middle range. It's what you get, but you have to be very careful because, one sit, that's 1/3 of your life gone. So here we won the battle for the sea cap. The Nelson is still here. We have Colorado that's pretty low on health. That's on the other side of the island. They have pretty low Pensacola that our Colorado just took out, and almost full health New York. And at the A cap we have Florida, and we have Colorado and Nelson. So at this time I decided to engage New York. I think this was a high risk maneuver in a way because I wanted to put those torps to test, and I think there are different ways. There were different ways to do this versus the way I choose to do it. The speed that you have in this ship is almost, I think, 34, 35 torps, so it's a pretty fast cruiser. So I decided to head down the channel, get close to New York, and send my torps. I can only send 4 per side, so I can't really switch both sides. But in this case, even New York should be able to overmatch my armor. Luckily for me, he decided to engage my Nelson with his first salvo. Here I thought that I was close enough to use my AP and see if I can do some additional damage. But I really just got a whole bunch of non-pens. I think the armor itself is just strong enough in the main belt to keep me out. Now here I got the 3 pens, but this is what, 3.5 kilometers? And here you can see the damage that I ate. I probably ate, what is that, around maybe 10,000 damage from 2.5k. Now, given that I'm this close, I decided to just kind of go for a short drop. I didn't want to rush it. I didn't want to turn too soon. I was a little concerned here that New York may be able to send another volley my way before I can drop the torps. And he sends another volley of HE for whatever reason, but the torps were enough to take him out. So now Nelson and I are left on our team. We have the C cap. The red team, we have Colorado and Nelson. They have the A cap, B cap, no one owns it, sitting in the middle. We have almost 500 point difference. So, and there are 6 minutes left. So as long as we live, we will win because they cannot make up that point differential. And also as the red battleships start to come closer to us, we will have a chance to reset them at the B cap for quite a while. Now, both of these ships are pretty dangerous to me. 406mm guns, those shells. If they land a good hit, it may not take a lot to knock me out. So I decided to go behind these islands and use them as a cover, and then use my guns to just fire on them. I'm also trying to send another torp volley as they get closer. But again, this is not the best angle for the torps. So it's meant more as, happy-go-lucky, or maybe if lucky then happy kind of torps, rather than anything else. Now, this salvo, again, was what was left from my fight with New York. I didn't really mean to shoot AP shells here. HE shells would have been better. because of their ability to start fires. However, you know, things happen. You don't change it every time, so that's fine. So both of these ships obviously are not particularly fast, and as long as I can keep these islands between me and them and have my Nelson spot them, I should be in a good position to do some damage, light some fires, and also, you know, be in a different direction than Nelson. So if they really want to shoot at me, they're gonna have to point the guns towards me, and that takes time and also gives me the ability to maybe go stealthy if I need to. Now, I think I probably did not have to go this far. I could have used that pass here potentially to send down torps and maybe be a little closer to it. Now, obviously, the risk with that would have been that Nelson was expecting me to do that and had the guns my way, and the moment he sees me, just deletes me. So, you know, with everything, there are pros and cons, and I guess given our point differential and my desire to win the game, I decided to play it safer. So, in retrospect, perhaps not such a bad decision after all. Now, Nelson, obviously, the closer he is to that island, the harder it is for me to get my shots over the island and engage with him. And now Colorado is also coming onto the cap, so I need to find a way to get closer and get him within the range. My range is on the guns is 14.9k, so far enough, but it's not 17 or 18k where you can really do a lot more damage and have a lot more time to dodge if you need to. Now, in terms of consumables, and I didn't really end up using a lot of them here, I have a fighter plane, which is, I guess, 2 fighters, and given the fighter mechanic, that's not really that effective. My AA overall in this ship is not that good. It may be adequate for tier 6 carriers. Now, adequate is probably pushing it. You will do occasional damage to the planes. I think that's a better way to put it. Between the fighter, if the fighter doesn't dissuade them, so you're lucky enough that they just don't want to engage you. Because your AA, I think it's a 1 flag bubble, and most of the AA is short range. I think below 2.5 kilometers. So you don't really protect yourself well against the CVs, and if there are CVs, the best thing is obviously to stay closer to a better AA ship. In terms of other consumables, you get a Hydra or the FAA. Now, you could argue that, well, the FAA, you get 50% more, and, I think your rating in the game is like 30, Pensacola's maybe 44, 45. Does that start to get you a little closer to adequate AA defense? Not sure. I decided to go with Hydro here, just in case I get closer to Destroyer. And, given the amount of armor I have, I thought Hydro would be a better consumable for me to protect myself or to benefit the team and the battleships if they are around me. Now here, despite all my care and attention, I kind of got surprised a little by that Nelson coming out there. I guess my Nelson was not able to spot it, and the Nelson decided to go after me. So when he popped up there at 9k, I was a little concerned. Got lucky there with the first salvo, and I guess most of the other ones too. As I was saying, this ship is pretty agile. Uh, Nelson is taking pot shots, but so is Colorado as well. And, a little bit of luck does not hurt, because if they're able to land any big shots on me, I would be done. But here it's another 10 seconds. I see Nelson is almost gone, so It's not gonna take a lot to finish this game, and I get lucky, able to take her out, and she largely misses. And with that, the game is a wrap. So it was a good game. I mean, the tier 6 ships, right, with the flags and camo, you get enough experience to kind of fly through that tier usually. But if the future cruisers in this line are the similar playstyle, it can be rewarding, can be interesting, and it's a little different than the other cruisers as well. So, that is a plus because it diversifies the game. I've been doing a lot of kiting with Russian cruisers, with French cruisers, you know, um, even with some of the German cruisers as well. So, uh, having slightly different play style, trying to get a little closer with the torps, trying to be a little more stealthy, it's a nice change of pace. Well, I think with that, that's it from me. I wish you all the best on the high seas. Hope to see you soon. Maro, out.